In the opening, we see Ryan arrives at an airport in a Latin American country and seeks a taxi. Taxi drivers refuse his low fare. Ryan then begins walking and encounters a driver sent to pick him up. The driver gives Ryan a letter from Jack, who says he can't meet him due to work but provides his house's access code. Ryan arrives at Jack's enormous and beautiful house in the forest. He enters, explores, finds wine, and starts cooking while waiting for Jack. He then hears a car arrive. Ryan greets Jack, an old friend he hasn't seen in 12 years, and they hug. They engage in deep conversations about their lives. Both are chefs who attended a culinary course together in high school. Ryan works at a roadside diner for minimum wage, while Jack works for a catering agency. The house is rented by the agency for a dinner event the following night, and Jack is the head chef. Jack tells Ryan his salary is much higher than minimum wage because he serves wealthy clients. Jack then takes Ryan for a ride in a vintage car to a small restaurant. There, they meet Alice, who quit her job and wants to travel the world with her savings. Jack and Ryan, chefs and friends since culinary school, compete to impress Alice with their cooking. Alice prefers Ryan's food, establishing him as a better cook. Despite Jack earning significantly more money, Alice's preference lies with Ryan's culinary skills. They spend time eating and swimming before discussing Jack's watch, which Ryan lost to Jack in a bet years ago. Alice and Jack sleep together, leaving Ryan alone. Ryan then receives a message from Rabbit, who is chasing him for his debts. Ryan traveled to escape debt collectors and loan sharks. Jack returns and wants to go out again for work. Ryan discovers Jack has a bank balance of $17 million by looking at Jack's laptop. Jack confides in Ryan that he is miserable despite his wealth. Ryan intended to ask Jack for a loan to deal with collectors. However, Ryan decides to delay his request because Jack seems unhappy. Ryan finds Jack dead and, instead of reporting it, decides to use Jack's money to settle his debts. He conceals Jack's body because he needs to access the bank account in person since he doesn't know the PIN. Ryan orders a fake ID with Jack's name but his own picture to use at the bank. Ryan receives a threatening message from the loan shark with a photo of his mother, demanding he pay his debt or she will be harmed. Ryan promises to pay $50,000 in 1 week and becomes determined to get the money. Thank you. He disposes of Jack's body in a lake that night. The next day, the loan shark threatens to kill his mother if he doesn't pay that night. Ryan is threatened by a shark who doesn't believe he'll honor their agreement. Upon returning home, Ryan encounters Imogene and Maurice, who mistake him for Jack. Ryan, a chef, seizes the opportunity to settle his debt by pretending to be Jack and asking for upfront payment. He succeeds in settling his debt and ensuring his mother's safety. However, Ryan now has to impersonate Jack and fulfill his chef duties. Ryan is stunned to learn the agency is a secret organization providing human meat dishes. Failure to satisfy wealthy clients would result in his death. Imogen prevents Ryan from escaping, revealing the next day's guests will pay $500,000 per dinner. She warns that their global network makes escape dangerous. Jack committed suicide because he couldn't bear the job. Maurice wakes Ryan up to go to the church from the previous day. They follow a little girl and her grandmother to a bridge, but lose track of the woman in an alley. They encounter a tire repairman who asks what they are doing. Maurice decides to target the repairman, pretending his car is broken and offering money for him to check under it. Maurice was shooting the tire repairman when the girl and her grandmother reappeared with a police officer. The officer questioned Morris and Ryan about following the girl. Morris, posing as a company representative, provided an alibi and showed a business card. Back at the house, Imogen questioned why they only brought one body, and Maurice explained the encounter with the police officer. Hearing this, Imogen understood the situation, and they then took the tire repairman's body to the basement, where she ordered Ryan to prepare the ingredients for cooking. Ryan reluctantly obeyed, trying to avoid suspicion. Imogen added that he must cut out the man's tongue, as the guest had requested a dish that required a specific body part. Ryan finished cutting the body parts and Maurice helped him prepare ingredients. Ryan regretted his actions, believing that calling the police after Jack's suicide would have prevented the current situation. He considered escaping in Jack's car but accidentally ran over a gardener while driving away. Ryan claimed the brakes failed, but Morris wasn't fooled, and Ryan confessed his desire to escape. Maurice warned him against future escape attempts, explaining the agency's global reach made it impossible. Ryan, understanding he had no choice, decided to continue. He returned to the kitchen, prepared his utensils, and informed Imogen about the dinner menu. Guests arrived as night approached, brought by Morris. Imogen was informed that 2 police officers were at the door. To avoid suspicion, she allowed Detective Ruiz and Officer Gallo to enter. Maurice and Ryan had seen the officers earlier that day, but Maurice was not present at the time of their arrival. The detective was looking for the man in a photograph, who he said was his nephew. The man in the photo was the tire repairman who had been murdered that day. Maurice and Ryan were at the scene when the tire repairman disappeared. The detective asked for Ryan's whereabouts and then asked Ryan if he had seen the tire repairman. Ryan said he didn't remember, and Imogen said that Ryan was an architect in her real estate company. The detective requested to see the hotel design and materials list, but Ryan's answers were vague, making the detective suspicious. Imogen, noticing Ryan's nervousness, offered the officers meat soup. The detective enjoyed the soup, unaware it was made from the missing tire repairman. He inquired about the meat, and Ryan claimed it was pork and lamb. The detective asked to use the phone and questioned Ryan about architecture. Ryan became flustered and struggled to maintain composure. The arrival of more guests distracted everyone from the situation. Imogen scolded Ryan for not following the script and instructions. The detective interrogated Maurice, but Maurice deceived him with an alibi. The detective then said goodbye to the guest. A diner invited the detective to dinner, but he declined due to another commitment. Afterward, Maurice told Imogen that Alice, who had been out with Jack, was at the entrance to see Jack. Imogen hoped Alice would leave. Ryan was surprised by Alice's unexpected arrival. Alice inquired about Jack's absence while Ryan cooked. Noticing Ryan's watch, she grew suspicious and left. A guest wanted to congratulate Jack and requested a special dessert with tongue. Ryan discovered the tire repairman's tongue had herpes. They needed to find a new tongue. Alice returned needing a taxi because her car broke down. Ryan served tongue sashimi to the guests. Ryan confessed to the detective in the bathroom that the meat was from the tire repairman. The detective vomited after learning the truth. They devised a plan, and the detective went to meet Ryan in the basement. The detective was shocked by what he saw in the basement. He tried to call the police, but his phone was charging inside, and he couldn't remember the numbers. He needed to retrieve his phone. The detective waited in the basement while Ryan looked for the phone. As the guests prepared to leave, Morris became suspicious of Ryan. Morris discovered the detective in the basement and killed him with a chainsaw. Ryan returned to find the detective dead next to Alice's body. Maurice acted as if nothing happened and asked Ryan to clean up the mess. Ryan witnessed Imogen creating false narratives about the victim's death and questioned her ability to do so calmly. Imogen stated she was accustomed to it and had agency support, and Ryan suffered from insomnia, haunted by his actions. Imogen informed him of positive client feedback and a recommendation for a higher-paying chef position at a larger event. Imogen paid Ryan over $4 million and told him the next event would be in Africa. Maurice then injected Ryan's neck with a device. This device would allow the agency to track and control Ryan's movements anywhere. Ryan resigned, packed, and left for London, driven by the same driver as before. Morris destroyed evidence by burning Jack's and Alice's cars at the airport. At the airport, Ryan met a man who introduced himself and started telling his story. A man lamented his poorly paid job and the awful hotel he was staying in. He was jealous of Ryan, a chef who seemed successful, earned a large salary, and lived in luxury. However, Ryan was unhappy with his life and the dangerous situation he was in. The film concludes with Ryan stuck in a luxurious life defined by guilt, fear, and a permanent loss of freedom. The end. Subscribe for more recaps. Thank you for watching.